जातस्य हि ध्रुवो मृत्युर्ध्रुवं जन्म मृतस्य च तस्मादपरिहार्येऽर्थे न त्वं शोचितुमर्हसि.
Today we sit with one of the most quietly powerful verses in the entire Bhagavad Gita, chapter 2, verse 27. Listen to its sound first. Jatasya hi dhruvo mrityuh dhruvam janma mritasya cha tasmad apariharye arthe natvam shochitum arhasi. For the one who is born, death is certain, and for the one who has died, birth is certain. Therefore, over that which is unavoidable, you should not grieve. Let us take it apart word by word, because in Sanskrit, the medicine is often hidden inside the roots of the words themselves. Jatasya means of the born, from the root jan, to be born, to arise. It is the same ancient root that gives English words like generate and genesis. Mrityuh is death, from the root mri, to die, cousin to the Latin word that gives us mortal. And between them sits the key word dhru. Dhru means fixed, certain, immovable. But here is the beautiful secret. Dhru is also the Sanskrit name for the pole star, the one star in the sky that never moves, the star sailors have always used to find their way. So when Krishna says death is dhru, he is not only saying death is certain, he is hinting that death, like the pole star, can be a fixed point you navigate by, not a terror you run from. Then comes the heart of the verse, aparihaarya. It comes from pari and the root hri, meaning to remove or avert, with a negation in front. So, aparihaarya means that which cannot possibly be averted, the unavoidable. And the final phrase, natvam shochitum arhasi. The root shoch, from which grief, shoka, is formed, literally means to burn, and arhasi comes from the root arh, to deserve. So the literal sense is astonishing. This unavoidable situation does not deserve your burning. Krishna is not telling Arjuna to stop feeling. He is saying, your inner fire is precious. Do not spend it on a locked door. Now, where does this verse live? We are on the battlefield of Kurukshetra. Arjuna, the greatest archer of his age, has just seen his own grandfather, his teachers, his cousins standing on the opposite side, ready for war. His bow slips from his hand. His skin burns. He collapses in the chariot and says, I will not fight. And Krishna, his charioteer and his friend, begins the teaching that becomes the Bhagavad Gita. In the verses just before this one, Krishna gives his highest argument. The true self, the Atman, is never born and never dies. It only changes bodies the way we change worn out clothes. But then, in verses 26 and 27, Krishna does something remarkable. He says, and even if you do not believe any of that, even if you think the self truly dies with the body, even then you should not grieve. Because on that view, birth and death are simply the law of nature, as fixed as the seasons. And grieving against a law of nature is like grieving that water is wet. This is why this verse is recited at funeral ceremonies across India to this day. It consoles even the person who has no faith at all. It asks for no belief, only observation. Notice the shape of the verse. Born leads to death, death leads to birth. It is a circle, a wheel, built right into the grammar. This is samsara, the wheel of existence. In the Indian vision, time is not a straight line from beginning to end. It is a turning. What looks like an ending from one step back is a rotation. Nothing in nature is annihilated. It only changes form. The carbon in a fallen leaf becomes soil, then root, then leaf again. Modern physics says the same thing in its own language. Matter and energy are never destroyed, only transformed. And this teaching has echoes everywhere humans have thought deeply. The Stoic philosopher Epictetus opened his handbook with the very same distinction. Some things are within our power and some are not. And all suffering comes from confusing the two. The famous Serenity Prayer asks for the serenity to accept what cannot be changed, the courage to change what can, and the wisdom to know the difference. That is this verse plus the rest of the Gita in a single sentence. Modern psychology has caught up too. Acceptance and commitment therapy has shown that our suffering multiplies when we struggle against unchangeable facts and eases when we accept them and commit our energy to what we can actually do. The Buddha called it the second arrow. The first arrow is the loss itself. The second arrow is our protest against reality. The first is pain, the second is optional. And there is one more subtle teaching hiding here. Arjuna's grief feels like compassion, but look closely. My grandfather, my teachers, my guilt, my family. Grief over the unavoidable often smuggles in a quiet assumption that the universe owed me, personally, an exemption from its laws. Krishna's word, jatasya, of anyone who is born, gently dissolves that exemption. The law is universal and therefore the wound is not a personal insult. So how do we live this? Let me leave you with 3 questions and one simple practice. First, where in your life right now are you burning over something truly unavoidable? Something already done, already past, outside your power. Name it precisely. Second, when you examine a sorrow honestly, how much of it is love for what was lost and how much is protest that your world was disturbed? Both are human. Only the second one dissolves under this verse. Third, if death is your pole star, fixed and always visible, how would you navigate this month differently? What becomes urgent? What becomes laughably small? And the practice. Tonight, take a page and draw a line down the middle. On the left, write everything troubling you that cannot be changed. The past, other people's choices, what has already happened. On the right, write what can still be acted upon. Your next step, your response, your duty tomorrow. For each item on the left, say quietly, "This does not deserve my fire." Then take that saved energy and do one thing, just one, from the right hand column. Do this for a week and you are training the exact discrimination Krishna gave Arjuna on the battlefield. Because remember how the teaching ends. Krishna does not say, "Do not grieve," and leave Arjuna sitting in the chariot. He says, "Therefore, stand up." Acceptance of the unavoidable is not surrender. It is the clearing of the ground. Grieve nothing that is fixed. Act on everything that is not. Jatasya hi dhruvo mrityuha, dhruvam janma mritasya cha. Tasmad aparihaarye arthe, na tvam shochitum arhasi. May this verse sit in your heart steady as the pole star.
जातस्य हि ध्रुवो मृत्युर्ध्रुवं जन्म मृतस्य च तस्मादपरिहार्येऽर्थे न त्वं शोचितुमर्हसि